Hello everybody, this is Yannick Goldensen in my studio, and today it's not about the studio or anything related to music or sound design or sound effects or anything like that. Today I wanted to do a little rambling video, and boy, it has been a long time since I last done one of these because, well, it's not because there was nothing to talk about really, but, I only tend to, because I don't want to flood my channel with just me talking about stuff I don't think that's interesting enough, to be honest. But I think this video is very dear to my heart because it is about a media that I really enjoy, is very dear in my heart. It's the media of film and series. And I have to be honest, for the last couple of years, I sort of fell out of love with this medium because, well, it starts with the fact that I love going to the movies. I love to visit the cinema. Go see a film. Of course, this year this has been scratched altogether, at least in our place here. And but the movies that I saw over the last couple of years, and it's something that I always loved to do. I always went with my dad to see the movies. But as opposed to when I remember my childhood, the last couple of years, there was nothing that really struck me. There were no movies that really resonated with me. When I was sitting in the cinema and really was completely losing it and felt like a kid again. And I really started to get worried about that because that was one of my big pleasures in life, to go to the movies and enjoy and be sucked into that world, and something that hasn't happened the last couple of years. And at some points I thought it was just me getting older, starting to lose this childlike ability to immerse into worlds. And on the other hand side, I just thought the way of making movies has changed radically, with a lot of focus on political correctness, on effect hype, and everything has to be bombastic and look great, and and all that, with just a lack of story and storytelling. And that's really something I was never able to really figure out. And I really came to the conclusion that, boy, my days of being able to really enjoy movies and TV series is over with, And I have to say, it was Star Wars that really made me fall in love with movies and TV series again. Because Star Wars is another example. By the way, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. The first movies that I saw, and the Star Wars fans among you are going to hate me for this, but I grew up with the prequels. So I watched them sort of in the chronological order. So I started with The Phantom Menace, a movie I still love till today. Episode 2, 3, and so on. And I really went chronologically, really. And those movies, I love them all. I love the prequels. I love the original trilogy. The sequel trilogy, I was not a big fan of, honestly. Those were the movies that I went to the cinema and saw them. And already when I was sitting in the cinema, I was watching those movies and I was like, what is going on? I can't feel anything. And, I really thought, okay, oh boy, okay, great. It's another series, done for me. As a big Star Wars fan, that came as a huge blow, of course. But then I got into this Mandalorian thing, and I tweeted a couple of times about it, and I have to take my hats off to anyone who's involved in this. And by the way, I just have to say very clearly, I don't want to make fun or make bad any people that are, associated with those movies that I just mentioned. I mean, it's not like any artist isn't bad on purpose, or they purposefully try to make these things bad, so I don't want to slay them. No artist should be slayed for what they do. Well, unless they do something, really bad on purpose, which I hope nobody does. But anyway, coming back to The Mandalorian, I really started to get into this, and a good friend of mine, shared his Disney Plus account with me so I could watch this material. And The Mandalorian really has changed it for me entirely. The way this stuff is made. I mean, for many times I was rambling on about how I felt that movies in the last couple of years felt sort of unreal. They felt more like computer games than actual, stuff that was tangible, that you could touch. It was in Star Wars Episode 2 and 3 that they started to feel very computer made, and that's also, I still like them very much, but they felt a little bit, like I said, not tangible. But The Mandalorian, it feels so tangible and so real all the time. And it has to do with change of technology. I mean, they take the best from the modern film production and the best of old film production. I mean, they reintroduced Baby Yoda being an actual puppet on set and not being made in a computer, and you can just tell this little creature, which I absolutely adore, by the way, feels so real, and it feels like something that is could be around somewhere, And then when they did this change of technology, when they switched from mostly green screen and blue screen, backgrounds, they have this new technology of digital sets, where they have like huge holes, and they have the background, actually not blue or green screen, but actual backgrounds that can do in Unreal and change, the backgrounds. And of course it reflects on the clothes, and it just feels so real. I mean, watching all the Mandalorian episodes, nothing ever felt like it was fake or it was computer made. And that's just something, it's brilliant. And the storytelling and everything, the characters are great. It's not all just about action, it's actual storytelling with a good, sense of clever filmmaking. And that's just, it's fantastic. The score also in The Mandalorian, it's not too overloading, it's a perfect underscore, and then sometimes you hear the music sticking out in the right places, just the way they used to do it. And they reintroduced the melodies, something that has been forgone for the last couple of years in many places. I always, there was another thing I rambled on about, was that a lot of movies in the past years felt like they had very interchangeable soundtracks. You could take one soundtrack, put in another movie, and vice versa, and you couldn't really tell the difference because they sounded and felt so generic. Again, The Mandalorian uses, themes, and sometimes just ever so slightly they go back on some of the John Williams material. And I really applaud them on not just having hired a composer who just tries to copy John Williams, but sort of, uses a little bit of his elements, and then adds his own soundscape to that, and combines that. It's just so fantastic and thoughtful. And yeah, now of course the most recent announcement, and I just think the people they have in charge right now, as far as I can tell, I'm not a Star Wars super fan. I really love it, but I'm not so knowledgeable with all the details, behind the scenes and all the stuff like that. But I know that the people in charge, namely Favreau and Dave Filoni, they do an outstanding job, and I really have to salute them. It's very unlikely they're going to watch this video, but they really made me fall in love with movies, series again. It made me feel like a kid again. I mean, I was watching the Mandalorian episodes here at home, and I was just, I was screaming, and I was rooting for the hero, and then when the slave one in the last episode went up and dropped the seismic charge, and you had that awesome sound effect. That stuff just made me go wild almost, and it's really like I can finally be a kid again. So that's just fantastic. And that goes to another topic that I hold very dearly to my heart, of course, is James Bond, and I have never made a secret about it that the last couple of movies were absolutely not my taste. It's gone so far that I say now the newest James Bond movie I'm not even looking forward to, because, the I don't even blame the producers or anything like that. It's not like I'm trying to make anyone feel bad or put down anyone's work, but it's just not my cup of tea anymore. But I always had a little bit of hope that they again would change the directions. Basically the same like with Star Wars. Star Wars was great at the beginning, then there was a phase where it was not so good, and now they're full power again, And if they continue that path with the right people in charge, the ones I mentioned, who are really devoted to the topic and who are really know what they do, then it's really in a good path. I'm really looking forward to that. And I hope for the same with Bond. I always said, of course, back when you had the Sean Connery fans, when Roger Moore was introduced, they thought, oh God, what is this? And this is just comedy and making fun of Bond. I cannot take this seriously anymore. And then they reintroduced, later on, Timothy Dalton. And people who may have loved Sean Connery's Bond fell in love with Bond again. And so I sort of hope the same for Bond, where one day, maybe when this Daniel Craig era is over, that it gets, sort of in a direction, if it will be continued overall at all, it goes into direction that will be more to my liking again, and to some of you people's liking as well, because I know I'm not the only one who thinks like that. And maybe it is interesting, but that's just me, just rambling around. Maybe Disney at this moment is creating a blueprint for how these franchises can be treated in the future. if this concept that they do, I mean, Disney's going to churn out a lot of Star Wars material over the next couple of years. Different series are announced, different movies. So they're really milking this cow, so to speak. And if they do it well, then it's even better for us. But maybe if this blueprint that they create right now, if this turns out to be successful and a good recipe for the industry, maybe others will follow, namely the Bond producers, for instance. Maybe they will also start, doing spin-offs and, having, more movies come out. To be honest, I never thought I would ever come to like the concept of TV series, spin-offs and stuff like that. But like I said, The Mandalorian really made me believe in that concept and made me fall in love with that concept. And I think when I read reviews online and when you see tweets and Facebook posts and stuff like that, I think a lot of people really enjoy that. And they were sort of more or less consciously hoping for something like that. And now it has arrived. So after all, thank God 2020 was not just a huge shit show. There were some good things about it. And yeah, and like I said, coming back to Bond, maybe if it's done right, spin-offs and TV series and that sort of thing can be interesting. Maybe the whole story of Xenianatop, who knows? Maybe the whole background story of different missions that were referenced but were never shown. I don't know, story of Blofeld or whatever. It can be anything. I mean, The Mandalorian, at the beginning I was hesitant to watch it because I thought, well, why would I be interested to watch a guy, some guy who looks a little bit like Boba or Jango Fett? Why would I be interested in his story? But it is not only about him. It is the storytelling through that character, but incorporating the whole universe, but not just as fan service, but incorporating the whole universe in a very thoughtful way. Really conveys that Star Wars feeling, and they could achieve the same with James Bond. I'm absolutely sure of it. And so I think we'll have really interesting times ahead of us. And yeah, that was just something I wanted to get off my chest. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this was not too boring. I wish you a very good rest of 2020. This will probably be the last video. No, there's another little surprise coming. I won't tell you more, but stay tuned to this channel. Thanks a lot. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.